Cost and benefit analysis is a tool used by government to make efficient decisions regarding the allocation of limited resources. Every government has multiple projects that they like to fund, but they need to make an objective decision on which policy and which proposal to actually go through. Okay, so let's take a look here. So I have a link here to the EPA website, and here we can look at an example of cost and benefit analysis. Now, these are regulatory impact analysis, and it is by law that any proposal for regulation needs to accompany with it a cost and benefit analysis. So I'm going to pick one here at random. We'll click on that. Okay, and so here we see that this is a regulatory impact analysis for new emission standard for the oil and natural gas emission sector. All right. And I recommend, for those of you interested in policy work, just go ahead and spend some time when you can, look through, just pick one of these that you might, look through one of these that you might be interested in, and just take a look, right? The first few you see will be very dry and kind of long, but after a while you'll see that they all kind of look the same. You have the executive summary that tells you what the regulation is about, and we'll talk about details of what is in these reports in a moment. But what you will see is what you want to look for, and what we want to focus on this chapter is comparison of benefit cost, or cost and benefit analysis. So this so let's try here. That's 264 or 63. So let's try page 80, and there we go. Okay, so what you want to look for is usually look for a table like this. Okay, and we'll go into more details of how, where these things might come from. But you want to connect this chapter with things that we learned from chapter 6, right? Economic valuation of things like natural resources, for example, right? And here we talk about discount rate. So here is essentially you take the benefit of the policy and the cost of the policy, and we will discount them. We will discount them to the present value, and we do a net benefit comparison. Okay. All right. So let's go back to our slide. Okay. All right. Now here are the basic steps of what is a cost and benefit analysis. These steps are going to be a little bit different than your textbook. I just think these steps here are a little bit more realistic, but there is no official way to do this. Every organization, every institution has their own way of implementing a cost and benefit analysis. All right. So first, you want your project policy definition. So that's your executive summary. That is, what is this regulation, or what is the project trying to do? Number 2, project impact identification. Now, this is going to be the most difficult part, because this is trying to basically estimate or project what is the actual physical impact of the regulation or the proposal. For example, right, we are going to impose a new standard for oil and natural gas companies. Then how would that actually affect the economy, the pollution amount, and so on? And you can imagine that this has a lot of different variables that is involved. And so this will be the most difficult part, and this is where engineers, economists, scientists will come in, and they'll try to build some models and make a prediction on what the actual impact is. Once you have the actual impact, then number 3, you will take those impact and you put a monetized value on it. Right? And so think chapter 6, we say, well, if this policy will remove 20 tons of CO2 from the atmosphere, then what is the monetary value of that 20 tons of CO2? What is the monetized benefit of that 20 tons of CO2, and so on. Number 4, relatively easy. So once we have that, we just add up all the costs and the benefits. And then number 5, we will do some really simple calculation. So net benefit is just the total benefit minus the total cost, and then the benefit cost ratio, total benefit divided by total cost. Number 6, once you're done with So by number 5, you're essentially done. But number 6, sensitivity analysis. Now, this is one of the most important part of cost and benefit analysis. Unfortunately, we won't have an opportunity to dig too deep into this. But what sensitivity analysis is if you go back to number two, right, and to make these projections, we had to make some assumptions. We had to make assumptions on things like unemployment rate or GDP growth rate and so on. What sensitivity analysis is doing is, well, what if the unemployment rate that we assume is not 3%, but instead is 6%, right? Or what if the GDP growth rate is 2% instead of 5%? And so one of the things that we want to know is, if these underlying parameters change, how will our results hold up, right? Is our result still relevant, or do we need to change? Do we need to do a new analysis? So that's what sensitivity analysis is. All right, and for those of you interested, I recommend taking a math course in linear programming. That will really that's the base, that is the foundation of the sensitivity analysis. And finally, our selection criteria will be select the project and policy that maximizes the net benefit.